What if I told you some of the biggest songs of the 1980s came from artists who disappeared almost as fast as they arrived? These tracks ruled MTV, radio, and pop culture. But most people remember the hooks and the videos, not the names behind them. Today, we're going through one-hit wonders from the 1980s you'll recognize in seconds. The Promise doesn't open like a normal late 80s love song. It opens like someone whispering a secret across a crowded dance floor. In 1988, When in Rome was a trio from Manchester with no major profile when they released this track, built around a synthesizer loop and dual vocals that felt both romantic and mechanical. The song reached number 11 in America and number 1 on the dance charts, but in Britain, it barely reached the top 60. The band fractured soon after, with members leaving and rejoining in different configurations most people never noticed. Decades later, the song found a second life in films and television, but When in Rome never became a band most listeners could name. The Promise didn't just become a hit, it became a song that kept its word long after the band broke theirs. Tarzan Boy doesn't open like a normal song from Italy. It opens like a cartoon running straight onto the dance floor. In 1985, Baltimora was an Italo-disco project created around producer Maurizio Bassi and frontman Jimmy McShane, an Irish performer who became the face of the group on television and in the video. The song was written by Bassi and Naini Hackett, built around That Jungle Call, a bright synth hook, and a chorus almost impossible to forget. Tarzan Boy became a Europop phenomenon, reaching the UK Top 5 and the US Top 20. But Baltimora never repeated that impact. McShane left, the project faded, and the song outlived everyone around it. Tarzan Boy didn't just become a hit. It became a cartoon the whole world learned to dance to. I Ran doesn't open like a normal new wave song. It opens like someone just spotted a UFO and started running before asking questions. In 1982, A Flock of Seagulls was fronted by Mike Score, a former hairdresser whose strange haircut became almost as famous as the band itself. The song was inspired by a 1950s image of a flying saucer and people running from it, which gave the track its science fiction feeling. The video was filmed in a room covered with aluminum foil on a tiny budget, but MTV played it constantly. The song reached the American Top 10, and the hair entered pop culture forever. But Score got tired of every interview being about his hairstyle instead of the music, and the band couldn't escape the gimmick. I Ran didn't just become a hit, it became a song where the image was bigger than the story. When that synth arpeggio starts climbing, Voyage Voyage doesn't sound like a French pop song. It sounds like a dream about flying that you can't wake up from. In 1986, Desireless, the stage name of French singer Claudie Fritsch-Mentrope, released a track sung in French that somehow broke through across Europe, reaching number 1 in countries like Germany, Spain, Norway, and several others. The production was lush and atmospheric, built around travel, escape, and a vocal that felt like it was coming from another room. But Desireless never had another international hit. The song kept selling, kept being remixed, and kept returning in different versions, while the artist behind it remained mysterious to most listeners. Voyage Voyage didn't just become a hit, it became a song about escaping that the singer herself could never escape. Are you enjoying this video? If you are, please hit the like button. It's free and really helps the channel grow. Maniac doesn't open like a normal soundtrack song. It opens like someone running so hard their heartbeat turns into the melody. In 1983, Michael Sembello was a session guitarist working around the Flashdance soundtrack, when a dark demo he wrote with Dennis Matkowski was reshaped for the film. The original idea came from a serial killer concept, but Flashdance director Adrian Lyne and music supervisor Phil Ramone needed lyrics that matched obsession, training, and ambition instead of violence. The track reached #1 in America and became inseparable from Jennifer Beals' training on screen. Sembello never found another solo hit with the same force. Maniac didn't just become a hit. It became the sound of someone pushing their body past the limit. 99 Luftballons doesn't open like a normal pop song. It opens like a warning, hidden inside something you can dance to. Nena's guitarist Carlo Kargas watched balloons drift over a Rolling Stones concert in West Berlin toward the wall. He wondered what would happen if they crossed into East German airspace, and that question became a song about war started by misunderstanding. The German version carried nuance, the English translation flattened, and the band disliked that version for being too heavy-handed. Nena never performed it live. The song reached #1 in America, but the group broke up in 1987 and never came close to that international impact again. 99 Luftballons became a war song that millions danced to without knowing what it was really saying. When that fiddle kicks in, Come On Eileen doesn't sound like a normal pop single. It sounds like a Celtic street party crashing through your speakers. In 1982, Dexys Midnight Runners was led by Kevin Rowland, a singer obsessed with authenticity. He pushed the band into a rough, working-class image, far away from the polished pop acts around them. The song was built around Irish folk energy that radio didn't quite know how to categorize. Rowland's vocal delivery sounds raw, almost like he's arguing with the melody itself. Come On Eileen reached #1 in America and Britain, but the band's chaos made them hard to market. By the mid-80s, Rowland was fighting with his own musicians. This wasn't just a hit, it became the last moment everyone could agree on. Oh, by the way, I will be posting more videos like this, so please like, subscribe, and turn on the bell. When that synthesizer pulse starts, Tainted Love doesn't sound like a soul song from the 60s. It sounds like a machine having a nervous breakdown in a nightclub. In 1981, Soft Cell was an art school duo from Leeds with one failed single and a label losing patience. They needed something fast, and Dave Ball suggested an old Northern Soul track by Gloria Jones that had disappeared in 1965. Soft Cell stripped it down to synths, drum machines, and claustrophobia, turning a forgotten soul song into something cold, strange, and impossible to escape. It spent 43 weeks on the Billboard Hot 100 and became Britain's biggest-selling single of the year. But because they didn't write it, Soft Cell made almost no money from the hit. Tainted Love didn't just become a cover, it became a warning about what happens when a song owns you completely. When that keyboard riff starts climbing, Take On Me doesn't sound like a normal pop song. It sounds like a pencil drawing trying to break free from paper. In 1985, a-ha was a Norwegian trio trying to get noticed in London, and the song had already flopped twice. Then Warner Brothers invested in a rotoscoped video with live-action footage traced frame by frame, giving the track a visual identity no one could ignore. Morten Harkett's voice sounds impossible, hitting notes that spiral upward like the song itself is trying to escape. Take On Me reached #1 in America and became one of the most iconic videos ever made. But a-ha never repeated that breakthrough in the United States. It didn't just become a hit. It became the moment when a drawing felt more real than the band itself. This song doesn't open like a normal 80s power ballad. It opens like someone turning a private mistake into a radio confession. In 1986, Cutting Crew was led by Nick Van Eede, who wrote the title after an intimate moment with his girlfriend inspired the phrase. The band turned that private line into a massive anthem, layering keyboards over a guitar hook that felt desperate and polished. The track reached #1 in America and made Cutting Crew overnight stars. They did have another US top 10 hit with I've Been in Love Before, but nothing matched this song's impact. The momentum faded, and the band became tied to that unforgettable phrase, I Just Died in Your Arms. Didn't just become a hit, it made heartbreak sound like something radio couldn't stop repeating. The most incredible thing is that although the 80s created countless fleeting hits, they also left behind songs that have transcended decades without losing their power. Songs that remain alive every time someone presses play and instantly transports them to another era. And you? Where were you when you first heard one of these songs? On the radio, at a party, in the car, or recording cassette tapes? Tell us in the comments. If you've made it this far, leave a like, subscribe to the channel. Until the next video,